turn on the recording. Welcome everybody. Welcome to those who will watch this meetup in the recording as well. So today we have an interesting thing to do, and this is the first panel discussion in the meetup that I planned, and the topic, as I mentioned, is very interesting and dear for my heart because this what I do. Probably the most internal coaching, working with the employees in the same company. So I'm also will be learning with all the participants from other people. And it's interesting that some of the panelists I don't know that much. So it's curious for me to learn from them and their approach to coaching. I know that there's going to be different views on different subjects, and for me it's interesting. And the word that I like a lot is cross-pollination, and I think there's going to be a lot of cross-pollination today. So I have several questions that I prepared as a milestones, as a stepping stones in this conversation, but probably we will also improvise and play by ear a lot. So today we have Cara from Tableau. We have Martina from, is it still Ernst Young or just EY? EY, okay. EY. And we have Mathias from Socialbakers. Thanks a lot for finding time to join, because I know that end of year is a busy time and people planning, people doing, again, coaching sessions as well. So thank you for making opportunity to join. So let's start with short introductions, if you may. So maybe Martina, starting from yourself, could you briefly introduce yourself?
So Martina, based in Prague. I've been with EY for 20 years now. Started my career in tax consulting. And 12 years ago, I moved over to HR, and I work as a business partner for several divisions in the firm. And 2 years ago, I completed an internal 12-month coaching program and qualified as a coach. And I've been working as an internal coach since. And actually last May, we introduced like a formal coaching program, internal coaching program in the Czech firm. So I can share the experiences that we've collected in that year and a half.
Mm-hmm. So you also just went through the process of formally setting up this coaching scheme.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's also an interesting experience as well. Cara?
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Cara Wilson. I'm in the States, in Washington State. I'm an internal coach for Tableau software. It's a data visualization software company. We were recently acquired by Salesforce. It's still weird for me to say that I work for Salesforce, so I still say I work for Tableau. I don't know how long it's going to take me to get used to that. I have a master's degree called Coaching and Consulting in Organizations, and my undergraduate degree is actually in outdoor experiential education. I didn't work indoors or in any job that had electricity until I was almost 30 years old. And so I came to this profession by way of working with kids in the woods and leading wilderness trips. And I've been at Tableau for almost 5 years. January is my 5-year anniversary. I also before working in tech, I worked in healthcare as an internal OD consultant for about 8 years. And I'll stop there. That's probably plenty.
Yeah. Awesome. I'm sure you have a lot of things to share.
Yeah.
On this topic. Mathias, to you.
Yeah, so I'm Mathias, I'm French. Apologize for my accent. I hope you will understand what I say. I've been training people for the last 6 years, and I've been working as a director of learning and development for Socialbakers during the last year. And excited to be here and learn from others.
Mm-hmm. So, Mathias, maybe we can start from yourself. Mm-hmm. First, I would like to talk about understanding of coaching. So what's your working definition of coaching?
Yeah, so I think I have, there are two aspects of my role. I have to deliver a lot of coaching sessions, workshops, but I also need to build a scalable methodology to make sure that our team is learning the skills that will have an impact on their performance and happiness at work. So I see, maybe we need to align a little bit or share what is our definition of coaching. Maybe naively, my definition of coaching is helping people grow according to the meaning they want to give to their development. And so, yeah, to make it short, that's it. Like I have two aspects of my role. I deliver a lot of coaching sessions, support them. I need to understand what are the main skills or tiny habits they need to develop to have a big impact on their work and happiness at work.
I see. Thanks. Cara, would you like to share what's coaching for you?
Yeah, I think very briefly, it is helping people get where they'd like to go by asking questions, asking great questions. It's curious. I'm working with a group of sales leaders right now, and they use coaching to mean about 10 different things. I'm going to coach you. I'm going to give you feedback. I'm going to redirect you. I'm going to problem solve for you. And so I think my definition is a little more narrow. And it has to do with using a process to help people get where they want to go.
And do you face any kind of issues regarding expectations about what coaching would be for new clients?
I don't think so, because I think we define it together early. And sometimes it's an interesting learning, right? A lot of my work comes through a leadership development program that I also run. And so a lot of the coaching is aligned with that program. And we spend some time defining coaching in the ways that we will use it and differentiating it from consulting or mentoring or giving feedback, and kind of to hold that the same definition for the time that we work together.
So you kind of use it as a complementary to other developmental activities as well. So do you have any strategy about how to use them and how to leverage different kind of approaches?
Well, one of the activities that we do that I find so helpful when we start talking about coaching is just having them define coaching versus counseling versus mentoring versus training, and what are the differences, and when would you use one, and trying to build their awareness about what they're using and when, and about creating choice, like enough choice in your brain as a leader that you can think, is this a moment right now where I actually think this person has everything they need and they just need some great questions to unlock them? And if I don't know, maybe asking them what they need. So just like adding in that little contracting piece in the beginning, I think can be really game changing for people. Leaders often think that they're being come to for answers, right? Like they just assume that if someone's coming to them, they need to solve. They're kind of chronic fixers. And so just getting that pause in there to realize, oh, maybe this isn't a situation for me to fix, can be really a really big shift.
Yeah, absolutely. Martina, what about you? What kind of working definition of coaching you have?
I think I change my definition every now and then. I haven't arrived at one which, I think is my final one, but I see coaching as helping people get clarity on that situation and sort of taking the first steps to move towards what they really want, what is important to them.
Do you also have the kind of definition or boundaries when you work with internal clients?
What do you mean by boundaries?
Between what's mentoring, what's coaching?
Oh yeah, we define that. We talk about it. We've created an internal website that is dedicated to coaching, and we really try to explain, the difference between coaching, mentoring, and counseling, because these are three roles that are available in the company. So we talk about it and try to define, what are the requirements of each role, so that people do not get that mixed up.
Okay, I see. So the next question I wanted to explore is, how do you see the difference between internal coaching and external coaching, and when does it make sense for people to look for coaches within the company, or when does it make sense to look outside? Martina, maybe we can start with you.
I think, that there's not one answer to that. We sort of look at each situation separately. But basically, you know, I think we offer internal coaching in two situations. One is that every person, every employee in the firm has got a counselor, which is basically, you know, a person that leads them through the career at EY. And sometimes that person may get stuck, you know, may be facing, you know, in the conversation or in the interaction with the employees, situations which may be sensitive, difficult. You know, there may be situations where the counsellor may think, you know, I do not really know how to move from there. So we, as coaches, are offering to step in and help. So we're basically saying, you know, we are your friends, and we help you sort of get unstuck, you know, and help you sort of in these difficult situations, because, you know, we sort of are on the same boat and have got the same interest, which is well-being and the success of the employee. So this is sort of one type of situations. And the other situation is basically when either, you know, the employees contact us, because a lot of requests for coaching are self-initiated. Actually, it's the majority. People either are facing an issue that they, you know, cannot resolve themselves and need sort of an objective partner to help them with it. Or they may want to, you know, self-develop, accelerate their career, whatever. So a lot of requests actually come from the employees directly, which is very pleasing. And sometimes we are contacted by their counsellors who sort of want us to help them work on some issue together. To be honest, I mean, we are able as internal coaches to help with the majority issues, but we sort of very informally, when we are approached by leadership, we offer external coaches, because although internal coaches are extremely helpful, they add a lot of value. We do admit that we are not as effective, because for all of us, coaching is something we do in addition and above to our roles. So, you know, it's just a few hours a week of coaching. So we do not compare to coaches who've done hundreds and thousands of hours. And clearly, you know, they may be and probably are more effective. So when it's leaders who need this intervention, then of course that time is extremely valuable. So in those situations, we usually offer an external coach. But with the majority of people, we offer internal coaches, and we have a high selection, you know, of coaches, different experiences, backgrounds, service lines, roles. So really, you know, it's different stories, different life stories, and different careers. So, I mean, there's a lot that people can choose from. So most people actually are able to look at our profiles and sort of resonate with you know, one of us and basically approach us. So really, we are able to help the majority of people in the firm.
And in those cases where you refer to some external help, do you know it from the start, or it's happening once you explore the issue or the challenge the person having?
But usually, if it's a leader, if it's like, you know, top leadership, we usually, you know, basically recommend to approach an external coach from the start.
Okay.
And also, to be honest, I mean, you know, someone from the top management would probably want to be coached by, you know, a peer. And you know, there is some sort of a danger or risk that it will be more mentoring than coaching. You know, it's difficult because the person will be working with someone who's got the same experience, same role, and it's difficult to just stay in the role of a coach, right? You sort of tend to, you know, say, oh, I was in the situation and I did it like that, or oh, I know what you're talking about, you know, this is what may help. So I think, you know, for top management, it works better if they approach an external coach.
Yeah. And also we'll get to that, because there's a lot of ethical issues as well. And I guess the more you get to the top, the more you know the people around. So there might be a lot of
That's also
conflict.
a fair argument.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Martina. Mathias, what about your company? How you approach engaging either internal coaches, internal coaching, or external forces?
Yeah. So from my experience, I'm always connecting coaching and training. So every time I'm going to talk about this, I'm kind of mixing everything, because I feel like coaching is a component of the learning and development culture I want to bring to the company. 2 years ago, I was an external speaker for Socialbakers. So the main difference was I didn't have the full context of the challenges they were facing. So I had an idea, but I was trying to bring concepts and tools that could have an impact on what they need to learn and apply. And with some interactions, I was trying to connect those concepts with their reality. Now that I'm working internally with Socialbakers, I can get deeper into the challenges they are facing. I can really connect what they do, the product we sell, the customers we need to convince, and then help them to develop a set of soft skills that can have an impact on their performance. So I would say that having a chance to coach internally, first of all, as a trainer, I can see the improvements of the people I'm coaching, right? So because when I'm doing a conference or a public workshop, I'm trying to bring value. They might like it. It's a great personal achievement, but then I don't know exactly how much they're going to apply the things we would cover together. I don't know that. So maybe they're going to like it, but maybe they are not going to apply new habits. But now that I'm working internally for Socialbakers, I coach them, I train them, I try to involve more people into their development, and I can see concretely their improvements, their progress. And that helps me to really bring a tailored support to them. And it's very meaningful to see how much people are growing inside the company. So I guess that as an external coach, you're here probably to inspire and guide and just start this fire in them to learn and apply and try to get out of their comfort zone and try to do something different. As an internal coach, I can really go deep into the details and see how much they progress, how much they improve.
Yeah, that's an interesting point, and I think it also mentioned a lot in literature that internal coaches have more context and more understanding of kind of systemic things that go on that external coaches may not have. I'm also curious how, especially in this COVID times, how are you able to observe the effects of coaching? I mean, not seeing people in office.
That's a tricky question here, because we can monitor activity. I can monitor progress when I'm coaching, for example, the sales team. Like I'm spending a lot of time with the sales department, so this is easier to track, right? That you have a target, you see how much they're performing. So, but I think that the other way is to one indicator, maybe it's just an indicator, is to look at the activity, how often they attend a coaching session, send feedback form just to see if they like the session, if they learn something new, if they are trying to apply something new. That can help to understand the impact we're having. And by spending a lot of time as well coaching people individually, it helps me to see if they can connect the main takeaways I'm trying to share during a workshop session with their individual work on a daily basis. So I think that the methodology that I'm trying to bring is based on 3 steps. The first one is self-education content. So we talk about one topic. I give them courses, videos, articles to feed their brain with a topic that they find meaningful. The second step will be to have group sessions to get the best out of a team dynamic, make people excited to learn from each other, share opinions, start to practice a little bit. And the third step is this individual coaching to actually see how much they have learned from the group session. Have they really understood the main takeaways, and then build this last bridge between the concept and tools I want to bring to them and their ability to apply that. So I think it's a combination of a lot of things here.
Okay, so coaching is a cherry on the top.
Yeah, a very important one.
Yeah, it seems like you use it to integrate everything what's been done previously.
Exactly, to connect everything together, to connect their ability to form new behavior and new habits with what we're trying to achieve together. Because what I found is without doing those individual coaching, individual support, it's almost like I will make a workshop and I would pray that they would get it, and more importantly, that they would apply that. When I was doing the coaching sessions, I could see that actually, you know what, even though they enjoy the sessions, the group sessions, they were struggling to make the last step to really apply that in their daily challenges. So I found that individual coaching is actually something you cannot automate. You cannot ask AI to do it. You cannot really, because, you know, when you work in a startup environment, in the tech environment, there are two magic words that you hear all the time. It's scale and grow, scale and grow. We need to scale and grow very fast, but we cannot scale and we cannot grow that fast the human component, the human element of development and coaching. So it's important to have people who are passionate and care about helping others, who would be building this last bridge between the content and the value we want to bring and their daily challenges and habits they need to form.
I absolutely agree. There are some voices that try to scare us and say like everything is going to be automated, the coaching is going to be automated, but I'm not sure you can automate this reflective space that coaching creates for people.
You can automate processes. You can automate processes, but people's development, taking their emotions and feelings into consideration, I don't think there is a way to do it. Not yet, at least. You still need us, don't worry.
So, Cara, same question to you. So, how would you compare external and internal coaching? What kind of upsides and downsides you see in both of them?
Yeah, and I've done both in my career, and I think it is there are upsides and downsides to both, right? I think that the context thing that you were both talking about as a gift can also be your downfall. If you become too assimilated into the organization and you kind of think you know things already. So that part can be tricky. I think proximity to the content as a coach makes it harder, as has been mentioned, to just be clean about whether you're coaching or advising or mentoring or doing something. But it's really helpful. I prefer being internal because I like to get inside a place and build relationships and have history and build my own credibility so that I can get into places that I think are interesting and important to do work. And you can't necessarily do that as an external, and you don't have all of the historical content of what's happening, or a leader, like I'll have leaders who I worked with years ago come back for like a tune-up, and they just want to have conversations, and I know them, and I kind of know who they are. And so it's fun to get to work with people over a period of years and get to see them and watch them grow. Just a funny story about what you both were just saying. I really loved what you said, Mathias, about it. Scale is such it's just like enablement and scaling. There's all this jargon that we use all the time, and I'm taking a masterclass with Peter Block right now, and he just said this thing that I wrote down. It just stuck with me, and he just said transformation doesn't take place at scale. It takes place in small groups over and over and over. And I loved it. And I'm constantly being pushed to scale my work. I am constantly having leaders ask me, this program is so great, but how do we scale it? And I'm like, we don't. We just keep doing it, you know? So anyway, I joined Tableau and initially was working with engineering leaders internally because they found, we're promoting all these really technical people into people leadership skills, and they don't have those skills. And so they thought, wouldn't it be great if we had an internal coach who sat in the development org and coached people? And so that was my first 3 years. And I remember doing a coaching workshop with some of these leaders and teaching them a model that's very similar to Grow. And one of them just saying, do we really need humans for this? Can't we just build an app? and it was like, I just thought that was hilarious. And it was like, of course you would say that. Of course you would think that. So I think there's utility and benefit to both. And I personally prefer being internal. I also just I like the stability and the structure of being inside an organization. So I think our constitution as coaches makes a big difference too, in what we might choose to do.
I wonder, you mentioned this proximity as something that can be, let's say, an obstacle in
Yeah.
being more impartial, if kind of my interpretation. How would you how do you deal with it? How do you make sure that it's not too much of an obstacle?
Yeah. Well, so I work mostly with intact teams. So I work with like a senior vice president and then all of the people leaders that report to him. And I coach all of them at once, which is awesome and a little bit tricky because I'm getting information from all over the system that I am then holding on to and not sharing, right? So that part, and I'm growing coaching skills in those leaders. And for them, what I see with them is that it's really tricky for them because they're so close to each other's work that when they are doing peer coaching and they're trying to help each other out, they have a really tough time separating their own experiences from purist coaching. And the way that we do it is we just kind of lock down the conversation to, you are only asking questions. And you're only asking open-ended questions. And when you try to slip in a solution by saying, well, have you thought about trying this, which is just a sneaky way of problem solving, we're gonna call you on it. So one of the ways that we're growing skills is just by being a little firmer about what we can and can't use. In, I think when I've been coaching for 20 years and I use lots of different modalities, and I don't only ask questions, but I also have enough experience, I think, under my belt that I know I can make wise choices. But when you're teaching somebody new to coach and their muscle is so strong in problem solving, it takes a fair amount of structure for them to build the other side, to build up those questions.
Yeah.
Am I making sense? Is that making sense?
Yeah. The way I'm hearing it is that for you, the solution is to adhere to basic principles and stick to the procedure.
Absolutely. And they just don't want to, right? Like we even give a little laminated card and it's like, these are the questions you can use. Like stay with the tour, and they're like, but I have better questions than this. And then they inevitably, they fall off, right?
Yeah.
So we kind of talk about it like 101, 201, 301.
Okay. And you mentioned having a lot of information about people, and maybe just to explore a bit the ethical issues and things related to confidentiality and so on. So how do you deal with the fact that you are sometimes repository of the most information about everybody?
I find it very, very important that I have integrity in my work. And it's very important to me that people know they can trust me. And so I am constantly I can kind of hold organizational information that I have in my head and work with the person who is in front of me. And where the art comes in, I think, is that if there's a piece of knowledge that I have that I might be able to, it might influence a question that I ask. I would never disclose anything, but I might be able